B, if we are looking, it is next Tuesday and Wednesday, so it's 5/28 and 5/29, Tuesday, Wednesday, when we return from your Labor Day weekend, or Memorial Day weekend. This will be a total of 100 points. Day one is 53 points on day one. Okay? Which means there's 47 on day two, right, for 100 point total. So, add, subtract, multiply, and divide polynomials. There's 4 questions. That's going to be your first 8 points. I am also going to put which questions in the review. So in the review, this is questions 1 to 10. So the questions that are, and I'll highlight those for you, the questions that are over here, that is where it is in your review packet. So when you look at those are going to be where you're in your review. So add, subtract, multiply, divide. Or excuse me, just add, subtract, and multiply. 1 to 10, 8 points. The second one, I can rewrite a variety of polynomials by factoring them. In your review, this is questions 11 to 18. So on your final review, so this should be on page 17 in your packet that you're writing this down. If you don't have it on page 17, you can be writing it on your own on another sheet of paper. So the next one, those 4 questions, that's going to be 12 points. Okay, so 12 points. The next one in our final, I can convert expressions between radical and exponential. When you are looking at those, the converting between the two, where we have 5 questions, that's going to be 15 points. And in your review, it's question number 21 to 32. Final review packet, this is going to be questions 77 to 86. So this is kind of, the first ones are 1 through 32, but then all of a sudden we jump and we are looking at questions 77 to 86, where you can create an equation and model. This is going to be the parabola ones. This is going to be where I tell you the velocity and I tell you the starting point and I ask you to write it and you have to use the negative 16 in it. This is also going to be your exponential one. So make sure in the review that you can write the equation, so exponential and quadratic, f and I. If we are looking at the points for this one, this will be 12 points total. And as we are getting to the end of day 1, this is the end of day 1, right here. This is all day 1 up above. This is the beginning of day 2's final. Okay? So the other questions that this one is on is questions 33 to 40. So for day 1 of the final, you are pretty much doing in your review packet questions 1 to 40 on the first day, and the 77 to 86 where you have to create it, do the model, and solve. Okay? On the final review, day 2, this is going to be questions 41 to 54. There's quite a few that I give you to practice on that, so just to make sure that you are looking at those. This is where we're using all of those exponent rules. So kind of thinking about all your different exponent rules as you are looking at those. Are you ready to go to the next one? Because mine's on the next page.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So, graph a variety of nonlinear functions. So if we are thinking of a variety of nonlinear functions, and again I'll put what pages in the review we are looking at. So if we are looking at our nonlinear, that's going to be our parabolas, that's going to be our exponential, if we are looking at those. In your review packet, that's going to be questions 55 to 60. So there's only five or six questions that you're practicing there. That is 2 questions on the final, 2 points, or 6 points. So there's 2 questions, 6 points. solving quadratics. Now, some of you on the last test did not use the quadratic formula for any of yours. We did that unit because you should be using a quadratic for at least one of them. Not all of them, but at least one. So this is question 61 to 76 in your final packet. This comes out a total of 17 points. This is a pretty big standard. There is a lot of you that were partially proficient on that second page of the test, that third standard on our test. This is a pretty big one for algebra. So making sure you can solve it. That's the setting it equal to 0. That's the factoring. That's knowing that when it's x squared and a number that you should be taking square roots and when there's no solution as you look at those problems. So the next one, I can interpret the key features of a quadratic. So when we were just looking at those, there will be 2 questions, 4 points. Those key features are the A, B, and C of the quadratic. What does the A do? The A tells us that it goes up or down if it's positive or negative. It makes it narrow, it makes it wide. What is the, how does the C affect it? The C was our y-intercept. So looking at those key features, and that was that project that you did, right? So that domino project, if you think of that, that was a lot more of the key features. And that was questions 95 to 100. Okay, so looking at those key features, 95 to 100. And then the last 2, if we look at it, the solving the Pythagorean theorem. 2 questions, 6 points. That was 87 to 94 in your review. And this is the J8, or J4, what we were just going through, the parent function ones, J4. So that one is not, we didn't put any extra ones in there because there's usually enough on J4 that you need to practice and to do those. Those 2 questions were